Welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. Thank you guys for joining us on this Wednesday evening, and we are talking about the freak that is Shohei Ohtani. The guy had two more homers, struck out 10. He now is on pace for nearly 60 homers. He's by far the best player in baseball, and I love Ronald Acuna as much as the next person, but it's not even close. He's just on another level. He's a Cy Young Award candidate, obviously an MVP candidate because of what he can do for both. There's a very good chance he wins. There's a very good chance he could win both this year, but over his career, I think it's going to happen eventually. It's just a matter of time. He's just an unbelievable specimen, and he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. And I don't think he's going to get traded by the Angels. They're in the playoff race. They're gonna put their best foot forward. They're going to try to acquire pieces. He definitely loves his teammates. He seems like an extremely loyal person. So I think the Angels do have a shot at landing him, even if I don't think they should be the favorite, because there's a chance they don't make the playoffs, and they don't make the playoffs again. It's going to be hard to convince them to stay. But I think they can make the playoffs. I think they can make some big trades to make themselves a lot better. And the AL is a lot weaker this year. So I think they can make the playoffs. And if that happens, I think there's a good chance he stays. But if it does get opened up to the entire league, you got to think the Dodgers are probably the biggest favorite. They've kind of been waiting for this to happen. That they've been lowering their payroll. But I just want to talk about the Braves as a sneaky team, just a sneaky team, a sneaky sleeper, because they do have money coming off the books in the forms of Charlie Morton. They might not pay Max Fried, and obviously you can replace Ohtani in the rotation while also getting a big bat. Marcell Ozuna's contract's coming off the book soon. You got Rafael Iglesias' contract is coming up. So they're going to have money to spend. They're making a ton of money. The payroll continues to rise. They're eventually going to go all in for a big star. And does anyone make more sense than doing it for Shohei Ohtani? Now he might start. He's getting to the point where I think he's pricing himself out because he's literally going to get 600 mil now. It's like at first I thought it was 500. Now it's like 600, 700. Like, what's he going to get? Like, if he gets 70 mil a year, like, so they can do something better. But I do think there's a myth about the Braves that they can't go after superstar players and they won't hand out a mega deal. And I think that changes eventually. And I'm just interested to see if they'll even be have a phone call because they know how much it's going to cost. And I think that'll tell a lot about the potential of them eventually landing one of these guys on a mega deal.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and address each thing you kind of said just to give my full encompassing perspective. The Angels are delusional. I don't think they have it. I think that Ohtani regrets signing with the Angels initially coming over from Japan, and I'm totally speaking out of place. He seems like a great guy, very humble. He's probably enjoyed his time there. But the Angels as an organization are a dumpster fire. I mean, pitchers go there to die. I don't know how he's just an immense talent. I just think, even if they do make the playoffs, which, is not guaranteed, they still are maybe the third favorite behind the Dodgers, Yankees. And with that being said, the Braves, everybody thinks that they won't cross that, $22-ish million per year threshold. And I just don't think that's true at all. I think that the Braves are a very by the numbers organization. And if it makes sense, look no further than the Freddie Freeman saga. And if it makes sense on the books and with their Excel spreadsheets, and I know I hate the Excel spreadsheets argument, they will make a deal. And if you want to break it down into two players, Ohtani as a pitcher is worth $30 million and as a batter is worth $30 million. You add those up, $60 million. It makes sense on paper when they were letting Dansby Swanson walk. They weren't necessarily worried about replacing Dansby Swanson, the player. They were worried about replacing his production. So the production of the position. And that's how the Braves operate. They don't operate on the basis of a name or anything like that. And nobody in the history of baseball has been more productive than Shohei Ohtani. It's not even close, really. So I think it does make a lot of sense. And though that, a lot of Braves fans, for whatever reason, and they don't have a point in this argument, will spend the money. They've been spending money. They have the highest payroll they've ever had. They're in the top 10, and it's only going to get higher when all of these other contracts start kicking in. I mean, it's crazy that fans are still, harping on what the old Braves would do is they wouldn't spend money. The Braves are printing cash with Truist Park and the Battery. And I know we keep saying that, but they are. They have money to spend. And the only thing that makes sense is to reinvest into the team. Ohtani alone is going to garner so much income, so many more fans.
That's what I'm saying. Like he's
worth it on the field and off the field.
I call it like the Ohtani economy. It's almost like the Taylor Swift economy. Like you got a guy like that. Like people are going to be traveling all over the world to see him in Atlanta. Like they already sell out every game. So maybe, but the jerseys, the merchandise, everything he's like, people have Ohtani Cubs jerseys right now. They just have a Cubs jersey that says Ohtani because Ohtani's that good. Like he's that good. He's that big of a superstar. It's not because, I'm sure the Cubs will make a run of him, but they'll probably still have it after he's a free agent because people want an Ohtani jersey and like they like having their team and they're like because he's the best. And my brother said it 2 years ago, which I'm going to give him some credit here. He said that he's the best player of all time, and I said, "Whoa, dude! Like he's played like 1 year. Like he's the best player of all time. Like he is the best player we have ever seen. Like at its peak, there is nobody better in the history of the game. And if you think it's sustainable." Whoever gets him is going to get a bargain because like they're going to make money off of him. He's going to be productive. They're probably going to win World Series. And when you just look at the Braves roster, they don't really have many holes. They have like none. Like get a DH, which is Ohtani, and get an ace of your staff. Like you're locked up. Like you want to talk about championships, World Series or bust? Like and all the money you
could be disappointed if Ohtani signs with the Braves and they don't win. Disappointment is an understatement. That's an understatement. And I was just gonna say, what is important to Shohei Ohtani? I know being on the West Coast, Japan,
it's winning. It's winning.
If you want to win, what team is better set up for the next decade than the Atlanta Braves?
Yeah, and I'm interested to see if the most important thing is getting a $600 million contract, or if he's willing to be like, you know what, I don't need $600 million. I'll take $500 and go to the biggest winner. Now, of course, the Dodgers will be great, and he stays in LA. And I'm not saying the Braves are in the favor. I'm just interested to see if they have any interest because I do think it makes a lot of sense in a lot of ways. Now, if it gets to the point where he wants $700 million, like they're going to be out of that. But if it gets to a point where it's a reasonable contract over 10 years, where the value makes sense and he's willing to take less to come to a winner, that's when you're talking. And like the way Ohtani thinks, I'm not sure it's about getting the $600, $700 million contract. It might be taken 500. And if that's the case, now you're getting a bargain on Ohtani. You're filling your two biggest needs for the future, and you're going to be unbelievable. Like, so it's just like, I think that there's a sleeper there. Like, would I say there's a percentage? I'm just saying there's a chance. It's not zero. It's not zero.
Exploring.
That's all I'm saying. Coming up after the break, we're going to break down the Hawks and their next offseason move.